So let's see how fast we can get all of this in about the pension Ponzi scheme, as we call it. So there's right now three different proposals. Well, technically two. One that we're not going to talk about today is the comptroller's suggestion about investing $4 billion into housing with a AFL-CIO housing investment trust. We're not going to talk about that today. The two issues that are really a scheme is pension reamortization of the unfunded accrued liability UAL. And then the second thing is called pension obligation bonds. Now, many of you who might be familiar with a car loan or a home loan, we talk about this like a reamortization is like a refinance. Typically, it is not advisable to do a refinance of a loan unless you can save money. How do you save money? You reduce your interest rate. Maybe you reduce the term of the loan from like 30 years to 15 years or from 15 years to 10 years. So that is a reduction. Now, many people do that. They recognize that by the time you pay off the costs, and because if what is a reamortization? What is a refinance? So you're taking a chunk of a debt, and then now you're saying, I want to maybe reduce what I'm paying out of pocket today in my monthly payment and spread those payments out. It's not a savings if you can't reduce the rate of interest you're being charged to borrow that money. That is why typically lenders will tell you it's really not advisable if you can't drop this 1% to 2% or reduce the term. Otherwise, what you're just doing is paying more and more and more and more and more, because you're spreading it out over a longer period of time. It's not a savings if you're doing that. So there's a union leader going out around there saying, well, it's just like a refinance and you're just, spreading out your payments. No, it's a little bit more than that. So that's the risk to that. And of course, you're in a very risky time where you have the federal government engaged in wars in other countries. Electricity and fuel and groceries are still skyrocketing. This is not the wisest time to do this. And we've even heard the chair of finance and the comptroller just a year ago talk about this very issue is not wise, and they don't support it. Not the council, not the comptroller. Now, why would someone want to do this? Well, even if it's not a savings, let's say because the main point of this is it would reduce what the city is spending today, freeing up more cash in this hand and spreading out the payments over a longer period of time. It costs more, but it lowers the payment that they have to make today. Why do they want to free up cash? Well, that's obvious. They're trying to get Tier 6 adjustments passed. So if they do fixed Tier 6, that's going to cost the state money. There's cash there. They recognize that Dean Foulahan announced a couple of weeks ago that there was only 1% put aside for union collective bargaining. They need money, right? They're trying to get different bills passed. That costs money. There's cash. So if they decide that they're going to reduce what the city is required to pay into today, let's say it's $10 billion, they reduce it to $5 billion, then they have $5 billion that they could use to something. Not a wise move to do. What is that pension obligation for? It's not really current retirees. Current retirees are basically funded. Who isn't funded? Current employees who will be retirees. And this is why we keep saying this. We do not recommend using the Retiree Health Benefit Trust, which is a trust fund that was created under Bloomberg to pay for the future cost of retiree health care. That needs to stay funded because of all the crazy shit that they've been doing. The pension obligation bond, which is the other scheme that they want to do. What is that? You have this pension debt. They want to take out a loan, a bond that is a loan, which is a debt. And then you have to hope that bond makes enough money to pay off the interest and the investment on the debt, as well as invest the funding into the pension, and that will continue to make money to keep that solvent to meet the goal that you promised. So those are the two issues: pension obligation bonds, reamortization of the unfunded accrued liability, both very risky. In my Substack, I posted a couple weeks ago, I talk about what the risks are, who did them, like Chicago, New Jersey, California, Puerto Rico, that did this, and it caused the destruction of their pension funds. One of the biggest risks of underfunding your pension system is that the pension system will not have enough money. Yes, the state constitution, Article 5, Section 7, guarantees that your pension must be paid. However, If the city doesn't have money, they will pull that cash from somewhere to meet that obligation. Where will they do that? They will charge you premiums on your healthcare. They might charge you more copays. They might charge you an increased deductible. They might give you reduced wages. They may reduce what the city is paying into the welfare funds for the welfare funds known as OPEB, other post-employment benefits for retirees. They will find a way to pull cash out of something. They might freeze all of the fringe benefits going into the unions and their welfare funds. They might reduce your raises. They might suspend your cost of living adjustment. This is why current retirees have been sounding the alarm on this, because we don't have a seat at that table. We don't have a seat in the room. And what that means is if they need money, we are on the menu. And active workers need to be focused, because this unfunded accrued liability is your workers who are pre-retirees. You're not a retiree yet. You're a current worker. This affects your pension funding. Just because you hear a union leader say your pensions are guaranteed by the state constitution. Well, yeah, but if the state doesn't have the money, or the city doesn't have the money to pay it, they're going to increase taxes, increase fees, increase costs. You'll be paying out your wazoo somewhere else to fund that. Oh yeah, it'll be paid, but you'll be paying it. So that's the quickest I could do that. 6.5 minutes. Have a great day, everybody.
Don't speak what you don't understand. The truth is not